Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom. Thank you so much for clicking on this video.
Welcome to messmas.
Alright, welcome to Messmas. If you are new here, Messmas is a month-long project where I'm trying to use every item of my makeup at least once before the end of 2021 or before 2022. Every time I use an item, I set it aside, put it in a box, and I can't use any of the items again until I've run through the whole category. What I'm finding out, what I'm learning throughout this is that I have mostly eyeshadow palettes and eyeshadows to work through. So that is essentially where we're at. Everything else, with the exception of highlighters, is we've cycled through at least once. But beyond that, my channel is a lot about loving my collection as it is and being critical of new makeup releases and also being critical of what I have. If I put something on and it doesn't work and I don't like it as much as I once did, we don't need it in our collection, we don't need it in our life. That's like the MO of this channel. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. That would be really cool. And also we appreciate likes on this channel. If you want some additional content from me, I'm also on Patreon. So at the end of yesterday's video, you saw me pull out the colored raine palette. So this is what we're going to use today. This is the Queen of Hearts palette. This came out around the time that Modern Renaissance did. And as you can see, well, as you may not know, you probably don't know, I have this palette never had Modern Renaissance. I had Modern Renaissance in my collection for a second, a hot second. My friend was letting me borrow it and then she moved to Texas and then we didn't talk anymore. She was like a work friend. She was like a work friend who let me borrow it and then she moved to, well, I got laid off and then she moved to Texas, so we never encountered each other again. But Abby, I salute you for your service. She also let me try her Subculture palette, and then I eventually got the Subculture palette because I liked it, and thank God I did because I really like that palette. We are on the last of primers, and I had to pull out concealers again. This is so exciting. We've now gone through concealers twice, and we've really worked on the concealers. Like the concealers, we've like worked down. So we're gonna use the Touche Éclat today, but I have this one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 5 concealers. I don't remember what I started with, but that's for the recap episode. This is the last primer. I pulled my primers back out and put them over there. We're gonna do this one today. The only new items that we are working with today, new meaning haven't appeared on this channel, is I pulled Trophy Wife from Fenty. We're gonna use a glitter from Slayfire called Life on Mars. This is so beautiful. The colored raine Queen of Hearts palette. My Tower 28 Beach Please blush, and then Sugar Pill lipstick. I think I mentioned this in another video or like towards the end of another video or amidst another video. I only have a couple lip products left and they are very specific. They are specific shades. So I'm a little bit nervous. I might have to pick my lipstick and then pick my palettes and things from there to make that really work. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. That's gonna require like artistry and stuff. And another thing I'm really concerned about is my neon pigments from Danessa Myricks and then my water activated pigment. Those are like the things that I'm like concerned that I don't know what I'm gonna do with, but you know, there might come a natural time. Like, what is it? It's the 18th as you watch this, so there's still 13 more days and I'm 2 days ahead, so I will know. I kind of worked it out though, that since I started recording Messmas early, right? Like I've been always 2 days ahead. It means I have 2 additional days where I can record extra videos and then upload them and post them before the end of the year because those 2 days are before 2022. Anyway, don't know how I ended up getting this chatty about this project. You know, it's like a very important work that I'm doing here. Let's get started. If you're new here, there are certain sections of the video that we kind of speed through. Anything I've already talked about once, I don't really linger on. And then there are a couple staple products like there's powders and then my primer that I use for my eyes. That kind of all remains the same. So I'm prepping with the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly. I start with my eyes. I am excited, like we're over the hump on this project, which is super exciting for me. I can't explain to you how exciting that is for me. I wish I had like all the time in the world to make this happen and make more content happen. Because putting my YouTube hat on, my YouTuber hat on, I see the most engagement and growth whenever I do like a well thought out video in front of there instead of these. But in my brain, in my head, this is the part of makeup that it's all about. And so I feel like conflicted about that because I was like hoping that in the new year, it may like, let me know if you're interested in this. Like genuinely, if you are like a subscriber who regularly watches my content, I would love to know if you'd be interested. Like if I dedicated one day a week to like a makeup playtime video where I just like use whatever in my collection, we could see what I grab for, like almost as an extension of this, but we do it like one day a week. And it would probably be like me putting that look on to then record my other looks, but I would try not to do that only because I know it's annoying to kind of see the same look over and over again. And I really do want to make a concerted effort to wear more makeup. But I still might bulk film with the same looks, but then play with makeup throughout the week. I really haven't decided. Or maybe I would do, well, like iPhone footage stuff and then do like a recap of the makeup I wore that week. I don't know. These are all things I've been tinkering with in my brain. As well as like what I do after the no buy. Oh, wow. This is like almost like a chatty get ready with me. Not that all of the other ones haven't, but like, I'm speaking my truth, okay? I set it with the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I know I want this all over the lids. So what I'm thinking is these two, like transition, crease. And I think I'm gonna deepen the outer corner with this Dethrone shade, then do that all over the lid, and then highlight with one of these two on the inner corner. I think that's it. And then I want to top that gold shade with the glitter. What I'm going to do is start with the shade Air. I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush. So Colored Raine, this is the only palette from them I have, but it's something I think about often. It's just, I just do. I think it's such a stunning palette. I think the thing is that it's not like my favorite color story really at all. Like I like it, like it's pretty. I specifically really like the orange in this palette. The shades here all blend amazingly well and they diffuse and they just so gorgeous. So it really is like, I really love this for the quality of the shadows, not so much the color story, but there isn't a color story that Colored Raine has released that I've been like very into to buy. I like they almost had me with the So Juicy. They almost did. Like I thought about it and they stopped selling singles because I thought, oh, if they start selling the So Juicy or some of the shades from the So Juicy palette in singles, I would have been like very into that. But then they said they were discontinuing their singles, which is interesting because they sell like a book to hold singles. And I just like thought that was like a very confusing move. And they were like, you can put other shadows in here that are of the same pan. But like, why wouldn't you want me to fill it with Colored Raine shadows? That was the shade Air. It's pretty close to my skin tone. It added like a little bit, a little something, something. We might dip back into that later if things get a little out of control and we need to diffuse the situation. With a slightly smaller blending brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Royal Prerogative. I fully stand behind the hype of this palette. I bought it like a couple years after it came out. It was half off and I snagged it. I have had no regrets. I've said this about this palette before in another video, but this palette, while I don't reach for it as like the star of the show often, it is whenever I don't know what to do, I'll pull it out because it's gonna give me something beautiful and easy. They blend so well. They're so easy. It's a lot like, it's what's interesting. Well, I don't know. I feel like I haven't truly had a fussy eyeshadow this whole time. I think one could potentially argue that the Tom Ford quad in Badass had been the most challenging, but I think it was mostly challenging because we had an idea, meaning I had an idea in mind, and then that idea didn't work out, and so then we had to like course correct. And that's where we ended up. Dethrone might be too glittery. It's like not really a satin, but I'll try it on the outer corner. I don't know. To me, that's like the more interesting choice as opposed to that. I've been really kind of enjoying like a shimmer shade as like the outer V deepening shade because they tend to just like blend a little easier. Yeah, this has some glitter in it or some shimmer, like big shimmer particles. It's still looking gorgeous, and it's not like I'm not putting more glitter. What I like about this, because it has that sheen to it, it just makes it a little bit easier to blend. Not that any of the mattes in here were difficult to blend, but I find that like when you turn your head, it like does a little, it gives, there's like some more forgiveness there because of the reflection of light on the reflecting particles and I don't know. This is something I've always done. This is something that I've really like throughout this project have been kind of trying out, and I really like it. I'm just touching up a little bit with the Royal Prerogative shade. I'm gonna take the NYX glitter primer and lay that down, and then we'll put Your Majesty on top. I think I've swatched the Your Majesty shade so many times, and I don't think I've ever actually put it on my lid. Whenever it comes to a gold in a palette, it's not that I never choose gold, but I often will choose if there's like another star of the show shade, like something more interesting than a gold. I will typically use that as my punch lid shade. Like there were golds in the Jackie Aina palette, and I was like, let me use this weird duochrome. Okay, I'm gonna go into the shade Your Majesty. Ooh. Oh. Oh, that's a beautiful color. Oh, that's like a very, it's like almost bronzy. It's like an orange gold. It looks, looking at it on the monitor, I mean, this is, oh wow, this is gorgeous. It is like gorgeous enough that I don't need to put the glitter on top, but for the sake of using the glitter, we will be because we got to use these glitters, my friends, because they are like kind of being the joy kill of the project for me. They're like what I think about the most whenever I'm pulling out. Oh my god, this. You don't need to do anything difficult. You just need a very beautiful shade to put on top, and wow, 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 wow. Wow, I want to wear this all the time. I want to stop here, but we're going to put on the Slayfire glitter. This is the shade Life on Mars. I'm going to give you a close up on it. So it is kind of like, it's a multi-chrome. There's like some green in there. I don't know if it's picking up all of the nuances, but it's very beautiful. And I think it'll look really pretty on top of this shade. So I'm just going to press that in. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned this, but there is an adhesive in this glitter. It just like punched it up a little bit, you know? The thing about glitter is it reads so much better in photo and camera. In my opinion, it reads better in like video, and when photos are taken of it, I think it looks really kind of silly sometimes in real life. I'm gonna have to wash my hands before we do the rest of my face. I'm gonna take some tape and try to get some of the remnant, the errant glitter. This is something I'm really bad at, actually. Like I normally can't get all the glitter off, and it's like not the end of the world to me, but I know for like some other people having like a glitter just errantly on their face is like a big to do, a big no. I don't know, why deny yourself the joy of glitter? Because it's fun. This looks really good, by the way. This looks really good. This was a really great choice. I hope when I photograph it, I can get some angles where the green really comes through on the glitter, because right now it looks like it just really punched up the shade from the palette. And it does, but it also has more to it than that. But I'm gonna go wash my hands and we will start with Complexion. I forgot that I wanted to highlight the inner corner. So I'm gonna do that really quick. I am gonna use the shade Crown. I think I'm gonna have to wash my brushes again this weekend. Whew, we've been using them. We've been using the heck out of them. And as an esthetician who tells people to wash their brushes all the time. Today, we're doing a combination of the Atelier with the Givenchy. The Atelier face primer, it says it's a demi-matte finish. And I think we know how glowy this foundation is. Let's see. Let's see if it mattifies at all. Also, I'm gonna put it on half of my face to see what happens. Just out of curiosity. I like this primer. I do. It does, like, it makes your skin feel really nice, even though we're going like matter with it. And I know that I've said on the channel, like, I don't love a matte finish, but I would say it's more of like because it's a demi matte, gives you like that velvet effect as opposed to like a true matte. It does look like it's blurring a little. It doesn't, that's not one of its claims. I think I'm just gonna use my hands with the Givenchy. I don't know. I don't think I need a lot of coverage. The primer didn't really take too much of the glow away from this, which is great because I don't really want it to be that matte. So it does, it's a nice base. It's a nice base. I'm gonna use the Touche Cloth. I really want to use this up. I know we're almost there. But the thing is, you don't even like need like a whole click each time. I mean, they're a little tough to get going, but once you get that stuff coming out of there, you don't even need like a whole click. Okay, now for my routine powdering. I'll be back after that. I'm gonna use the Rhodile contouring powder. This is also not new to this process. And I'll be back after that. So I just realized a mistake I made. I have a cream blush that I didn't use before powdering. My bad. Let's give it, do I want to risk it? Because I think we have a really good look going. I'll be pretty upset if I try to put that over powder and it doesn't work. Let's try it. So I'm gonna try the Tower 28 Beach Please. I've never tried this over powder. I really like this blush. I know that I like this blush. I've never tried it over powder. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna try to go in as gently as I can. This is a really, really deep blush. It works over powder. Ooh, we almost just had ourselves a little disaster. I still think I like doing it over cream, but it didn't ruin anything today. So I think that in itself is a win. So I commend the Tower 28 blush for being diverse, although now I've gotten it too deep. I'm gonna bronze with the Hourglass Bronzer. We've talked about this before. This is Old Hat. I'm gonna try something that someone said in the comments. I went digging in let's try something. So I believe their name was like Katari88. I think that's your screen name. If I'm saying the wrong person, I really apologize to the person who said this, but they had said that when they go a little ham, that they like to use dim light, and I have dim light from Hourglass to kind of like buff it out, because I think that the blush it's doing too much. It's doing a little too much for me. So I'm just gonna take dim light, and I'm gonna just... Okay, so this is the side that I did the dim light on. This is the side I did not. I think yeah. I mean, I can see it I don't know. I don't know if it's reading as much on camera, but like, yeah, it diffused, so. Thank you to whoever said that. I believe, I'm like 70% sure it was Katari. See, I think it was you. And if it wasn't you, then, well, shouts out to you, but then also I will edit it in because I'll have time to go to see who said that, but I will go back through my comments because that was like a really that was a game changer for today's look. I'm just gonna put this back in. I haven't pulled something out, but that technique was recommended to me, and I just wanted to give it a try. Just like, not that I didn't trust that person, but I just wanted to give it a whirl because today it was necessary. Highlight. We're doing Trophy Wife today. Brave, bold, and brave, bold. So as a very fair-skinned person, this is like, I can't go too ham on this. So what I take is like a very, very fluffy fan brush, like not densely packed, kind of tap it into Trophy Wife, tap off the excess, and build it up to where it can be wearable for me. I think that's it for complexion. I'm gonna spray mascara and I'll be right back. We are mascara'd on. I didn't do any drop shadow today. I don't really have any interest in doing drop shadow today or liner. I think that the eye stands alone. I was originally gonna use Trinket from Sugar Pill, but I'm actually gonna use a different shade, but also from Sugar Pill. I think it's gonna go a little bit better with what we're doing here today. This is the shade Gravity. This is what it looks like in the bullet. This shade is really pretty. This is really pretty. I really like that. I'm shocked because I swore I've worn this before, or maybe it's just like it fell into place with this look, but I think this lip color is so gorgeous. It's like very dark mauve with golden sparkles in it, and I thought with Trophy Wife and like what's on the lids, like that would be the perfect choice, and I think it was, but I've never put this lipstick on and like gone, yeah, that. I'm gonna zoom you in so we can look at skin. All right, let's start with the cheeks. Trophy Wife is given the old razzle dazzle. This is not my favorite my skin has looked. Maybe the Atelier primer is not my jam. I don't, well, look at the eye look. Hopefully, can you get those like green shimmers? I think that this eye look is really sickening. The glitter, I wouldn't have put the glitter on. If I wasn't doing this project, I wouldn't have put the glitter on because I really think that that gold eyeshadow is very sickening. But it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just, like I said, like in video far away, whenever you're like an appropriate distance away from the camera, I think that's when like glitter really does its thing. And then I'll give you the lip. Let's talk about everything I used today and reflect on our choices. For eyeshadow today, the Queen of Hearts palette continues to prove why it has the reputation that it does. Was a gorgeous palette to use. Was amazing. Really loved the Your Majesty shade. And again, I was like kind of shit talking gold as I put it on, and it really changed my mind. It's a beautiful gold. This is a beautiful palette. I've been thinking about this. It's just like, I have so many beautiful eyeshadows that I like, eyeshadow palettes that I like. And I don't want to get like rid of a bunch, but I do think that there is like space for that. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know what I want it to look like on the other side of it, so I don't have even like the problem to get to the solution yet. The problem obviously is like I have too many eyeshadow palettes, but the solution, I don't know. It's like, it's not, I've enjoyed playing with all of them. It is a matter of like making time and space for them. And if I didn't wait until the last 31 days of the year and I rotated through my eyeshadow palettes more regularly, I wouldn't have this problem where I have an abundance of beautiful things that perform well. That's my problem. My problem is I have too many beautiful things that perform really well. And it kind of leaves me at this point where like, you know, you often pull for what's new or what you're thinking of, what's at the top of your mind. I don't know. I like don't know what the solution is, because like yesterday with the Janky Ina palette and today with this, those are palettes I don't reach for often, but I think they gave me both two of the most easy and very impactful looks without trying too hard. Like I didn't have to like finesse it. And I'm not to say that like the other palettes I used were like labor intensive, unless I made them labor intensive, you know, with like Mothership 1, I like was really doing something, but that had nothing to do with the Mothership palette. Wow, these are really easy, highly impactful, don't take very long to use because they blend well. The shimmers are just gorgeous and like they do the work on their own. I don't know. That's just food for thought. That's where I'm like landing, and I'm so curious as to where I'll land once I keep playing with my other eyeshadows. The other thing is I'm not including my single shadows in here as well. So that could be a project for the new year. Just like incorporating not so much my Cleona shades, like which I do want to incorporate more in the new year, but more so including things I've depotted and, you know, using those, because I have the Natasha Denona Sunset, the big one, the big palette that was originally very popular, and I haven't used it since I depotted it, because I depotted it because I was like, the packaging I didn't like at the time. Now I don't really mind it, but I really hated it at first. That's like my problem to figure out, but just I wanted to share that with you, because just know that's something that I'm taking into consideration and thinking about. I think that eyeshadow in the new year, as I like progress as to someone who is allowing themselves to buy makeup again, is really on the bottom of the list. And I think that's kind of unfortunate for me, because eyeshadow used to be like my favorite. It used to be my favorite thing to buy. And I still love putting on eyeshadow, but I think like my collection and like the fatigue I feel, because it's like I already have so many, and like again, I've done a very good job for the most part being smart about the eyeshadow palettes I bring into my collection, because these have all performed very well, all have done what I've needed them to do in this like you can disagree with me, but I don't think we've gotten a dud of a look. Like, I don't think I have had a moment where I was like really putting something on and I was like, not this. I don't know how to finish this thought, so I'm just gonna have to move along. Slayfire Cosmetics Glitter Gel in Life on Mars. Very beautiful, and like really played well today. I wasn't in the mood for glitter, and especially after I put that lid shade on, I was like, wow, we really don't need the glitter because it was so gorgeous. But it was a great shade to use with the eye look that I ended up with today. So amen. Looks really good. It's just, it was like, it's not bad. It did what I needed to do. Nothing was a failure about it. It just like, because it was more of like I'm forcing myself to use it, it wasn't as fun to have. And I found with this shade, which I think is so stunning, when I'm doing a neutral look, the last thing I really want is glitter. And like, I feel like this glitter particularly plays better with like neutral shades, but like a lime green glitter has like a very specific time and place, whereas this one, does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I'm really having trouble today finishing my thoughts, so I'm just gonna move on again. The Atelier primer, it could be on the chopping block. I just think that demi matte finish primers might not be for me. I'm not gonna call it quits on it yet. I want to use it a few more times because I did also apply the Givenchy with my hands, which I don't normally do. I typically use a brush, but I think that brush specifically needs cleaned. Like the brush that I've been using for foundations needs cleaned pretty badly. So I'm not gonna throw this out, but I would like, it's gonna make another run through during this project, and I'm completely okay with that. I would like to try it with another foundation with the way that I like to apply that foundation. So we'll see you again soon. The Givenchy Tent City Couture Balm, or Tent Couture City Balm. Normally, I really like it. I don't even think it looks bad today, but I just think the primer combo, putting on with my hands, just didn't allow me for the best finish today. So not as impressed with it as I usually am, but still a very solid product. Hourglass Bronzer, you know I love this. You know she did her work. She did a woman's work. Oh, this woman's work. I love Kate Bush. You may have clocked the Kate Bush book in the background whenever I sit over there, but I did a like 5-part series on my one podcast about Kate Bush. And I really connected, and I love her whole discography. Like I love Kate Bush really a lot. Okay, moving right along. The Tower 28 blush. She did not do her best today, but I also did not do my best. But I pulled it out, and I was like, I remember when I pulled it out, I was like, that's a cream. We're going to have to remember to do that before we powder it. And guess who didn't remember to do it before we powdered? Me. So what I found in putting it on top of powder is that it still blended okay. But what happened was, because I didn't have the mobility and I don't know what to call it, but like, because everything wasn't so wet on my face, it didn't like disperse pigment enough. And this is a deeper shade. Like it's probably too deep for my skin tone, but I normally use a sponge to blend it out, and I felt like taking a wet sponge on top of my powder, like I thought that would be like not the move. So it didn't do its best today. I didn't do my best today. So I'm gonna chalk this up to user error, because I've used this before. I know this blush well enough to know that that's like not really the performance of it. It's just a disappointment for like part of the series in this video that happened. However, we did get to use, whichever one of my subscribers had recommended that using dim light on top of it. I think that really helped. So thank you again. And so that's a trick. If you have dim light in your collection and you want a little ham on blush, go ahead and try that on top of the blush to try to diffuse it a little bit, because I think it really did a great job. Trophy Wife. You know, the impact of Trophy Wife, it's not as strong as it once was. I still think it's a beautiful product, but it is just gold shimmer. There's not really like much more to it than that. Like it's all just the reflect of the shimmer, right? There's like nothing underneath that shimmer that's glowing. Whereas like when you look at another highlighter, the Milk highlighter doesn't have any of that shimmer to it, right? And so whenever you put this on your face, you're not getting like glitter. There's no better way to phrase it, but it is a very specific thing. And whenever I don't know, today, I'm not feeling it as much as I usually do, but there was nothing wrong with the performance of it today. It just was like, there's a reason I use this highlighter sparingly, because it's like not the most. I wish I had a mini of it, but I don't know. I don't have my heart to like say I don't want Trophy Wife, because it still did that. And it still is doing that. And she was the OG bitch, really, whenever it came, you know. The OG Fenty bitch was literally this highlight. It was like the thing. One last thing to talk about with you, the lipstick from Sugar Pill in the shade Gravity. I mean, it's pretty comfortable to wear. It's, you know, it's moving. It's not like moving around on my lips, but as my lips move, I don't feel tension. You know, when you have like a matte lipstick, how you like move your lips, and because the matte lipstick dried a certain way, it like doesn't, she's not doing her best. It's actually pretty comfortable. I don't know. This blew me away today. Like, I really like this shade. I really like the shade. I'll be pulling it out more. I'm excited to, this, you know, what happened with this lipstick is kind of what this project is all about. Trying something that I already own in my collection and going and thinking that I knew what it was and thinking I knew what it looked like and thinking I knew about it. And something just comes along and like blows me away. And this did it. I think this is this is gorgeous. Really enjoyed that. That ends today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This was a bit of a wild card. This was a bit of a wild card video. I think that I've had the most mixed feelings about a lot of the things in here, where I still think we had a successful look. I really do. Like, I love this look. I think it is so gorge, but tough patches throughout this process today. So that was fun. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love to have you subscribe. That would be really great. Let's start there. And then also, if you want to see all of my videos from trying all my makeup before 2022, I have a playlist where I've been adding these all to the playlist. So you can see, you can kind of get a vibe of my collection as well. And I also have collection videos if you're into that. Like, I have a back catalog, so if you want to spend some more time with me, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it, superstar. Don't forget to like this video. That helps me with the algorithm, blah, 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 whatever, YouTuber stuff, blah, blah. And I also have a Patreon if you want to support me there. I do 2 additional videos there every month. Thank you so much again for watching. And remember to follow your haute and you will find me. I will never be able to say it with a straight face. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, friends.